What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. In this one, I am going to be talking about the mindset that every man must master. Now, I call this mindset the resilience mindset. You probably have already heard of the abundance mindset. The abundance mindset has to do with operating in a state of plenty and assuming abundance, all right, instead of assuming famine, instead of assuming poverty, all right? Pessimism is what keeps a lot of people weak, poor, and not living up to their full potential. So if this is something that you tend to do, you tend to be a pessimist, you tend to think, oh, what's gonna go wrong next? Something's always gonna go wrong, and you spend a ton of energy focusing on what's going to go wrong next instead of focusing on what you can be doing in order to grow. This is probably something that you have to deal with. There's a quote that says, pessimists sound smart, but optimists make money. And you could replace those words with a lot of different things. Pessimists sound intelligent. They sound like they know what's going on because they're constantly saying, oh, but what if this happens? If you do this, what if this happens? What if this happens? A lot of times we mistake pessimism as wisdom as human beings. But optimists are the ones who actually go out there. They're the people who dream and the people who end up taking action. The people who don't let fear hold them back, because fear is ultimately what keeps most men frozen. All right, so operate with an abundance mindset. But what does it mean to have a resilience mindset? And the reason why this is so important is because the victim mentality plagues the modern man. I would say that it is one of the biggest problems that we have as men today. People are obsessed with playing the victim and trying to reframe things to get other people to think that the world is just happening to them and that they couldn't control things. They're in a way worse position than everybody else. We live in a society that loves to glorify victims and victimization. Don't let yourself fall into this trap. And the resilience mindset ultimately gives you the key to conquering it forever. So what exactly does the resilience mindset entail? The resilience mindset is a change of lens. So you are swapping out the lens of victimhood, and instead of thinking that there is some sort of virtue in being a victim, you are shifting out the victim lens for the victor lens. And this is all about giving yourself the power back, giving yourself the reins, giving yourself the control to change your environment. And people don't like this because what it involves is taking on a lot of responsibility. Even taking on responsibility for things that maybe you wouldn't be able to control. Maybe you can't control. And yet you still decide to take responsibility because it's your life. Looking at everything difficult that happens in your life as a gift that is actively making you stronger is the key to resilience. Here's a little bit of an example from my own personal life to really depict this for you. I actually lost a lot of money recently. And there's been multiple times in my business ventures where I have seen $5,000, even $10,000 just disappear into thin air with no benefit to me. I didn't purchase anything. That money was just gone. And I want you to really, really envision this. Imagine this happening in your own life. $10,000 just disappearing, gone. A lot of you would probably be freaking out. Some of you may be thinking, oh, but Brandon, you make quite a bit of money. So $10,000, it's not really that big of a deal. I am a very, very frugal person. I'm a very, very risk-averse person. I am naturally very pessimistic. It was something that I always had to actively try to overcome. I had to work for years in order to develop an abundance mindset. So watching $5,000 to $10,000 completely disappear was horrifying for me. And just recently, I actually had a situation with even a lot more money where I was scared that I was never going to get it back. I thought I wasn't. I thought I wasn't going to get it back. All right? And so actively, what I had to do was work to see this money possibly disappearing as a good thing. It took active work. And how did I do this? Well, I told myself a couple different things. I told myself this could have been a lot worse. $15,000, $20,000 disappearing. I'm just glad it wasn't $50,000, $100,000. I asked myself, what am I learning from this experience? Because I'm learning a lot of things about how business is done and how it should be conducted in the future. I'm very blessed to be able to operate a business where there are large amounts of money getting moved around constantly. That's a blessing. I get to see the fruits of that. So when you're playing a dangerous game, when you're playing with a lot on the line, you have to understand that sometimes you are going to lose. Do you see how I started to actively shift how my mind was thinking about this situation? And I start to think, what valuable lessons can I take away from this? And overall, this is much easier said than done. I had to go to the gym and work out my stress, and I had to work through it and tell myself these things. For an hour and a half, I was training, because when I'm training and my blood is flowing, my mind is working, it becomes malleable and I can process things very well. It's why I make sure to get in physical activity every single day, whether it's resistance training or cardio. I make sure to get it in every single day because it's how I go about processing things and thinking through things and cementing in the right mindset while I'm pushing my body, binding the mind and the body together. Understanding that the hardship that I am going through, both in my mind and in my body, is beneficial for me. I'm using my workout to reframe my thought. A fitness coach texted me yesterday. He was hit by an 18-wheeler recently. Multiple broken bones. He can't do anything. Not only can he not train himself, but he can't personal train his clients. He can't get out of his house. He can't go anywhere. He's stuck in the same spot. He's in a state of torture. You know how terrible it feels to not be able to work on what you want to work? To not have your body operate the way that your body should be operating? I did my best to encourage this fitness coach in the same way that I am encouraging you guys now. I told him to go talk to another fitness coach that is inside of the same program that he is in. And I said, go get him to tell you his story. Because there's another guy inside of this program that broke his back. He broke his back, and he ended up spending an entire year laying in his bed. He couldn't do anything for an entire year besides laying in his bed. He told me that after the full year, his mattress had become deformed. One side was way higher than the other because he had spent the last year rotting on one side of the bed with nothing to do. This same fitness coach has had family members dying of substance abuse. He could have turned to the exact same thing when his life was ruined, when he broke his back, when he had to sit in a bed for a full year. And yet he didn't turn to these things. He stuck it out. And what ended up happening? He turned around, used his story to inspire tens of thousands of other people, get in the best shape of his life, and build a booming fitness coaching business. What a spin. What a spin. You see, everybody asks for challenges. Everybody asks for growth. But then we tend to cry, woe is me, when those challenges present themselves. I recently saw a video of a cancer patient saying, it's my 4th time battling cancer. I just got the news that I have to go through everything again. The cancer is back. He said, bring it on. I'm going to take it head on. I'm going to fight it again, and I'm going to win again. That was his inspiration. This post had 4 million likes of him saying this. There's another person. He's a famous motivational speaker. You may know him. He has no arms and no legs. No arms and no legs, and yet he is a famous, well-renowned, worldwide motivational speaker. And when I tell these stories, people will sometimes say, oh, but I wasn't born with no legs and no arms. Oh, but I don't have cancer, so I can't be as inspirational as these people. Do you see the lens that you are seeing life through? You're seeing it through the victim lens. You ask for challenges, you ask for growth, you ask for the opportunity to turn something terrible into something good, but then when it does, you cry, woe is me. Be like these other people that are able to harness this evil and turn it into good. I don't want this to be you, the person who looks at life through the victim lens. I want you to have a resilient mindset. It takes active work to shift bad into good. You must become an alchemist, just like God turned the worst, most despicable act on the planet, the crucifixion, mutilation, and torture of an innocent man who knew no sin, into the best possible thing that ever could have happened, the greatest, the most powerful good of all time, that man's death on the cross to conquer evil and save everyone. Do you see? God has this mindset. This is how God operates. This is how God defeats evil. Through your challenge, through your work, through your hardship, you are refined. You are refined in the fires. Even though it may scorch you, even though it may burn your skin, you will come through the other end purified. So adopt this mindset and actively practice it in every single walk of your life. Because I myself have to do the same thing over and over and over again. We all have this inclination towards the victim mindset. Don't let yourself fall into it. I hope you guys found this video useful. Make sure to drop a like down below. Drop a singular thumbs up in the comment section if you watched all the way through this video till the end. Because if you did, you've got an attention span of steel, my friend. I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace.